If you're an aspiring programmer, there's one Python concept that silently separates beginners from professionals. It's not syntax, it's not speed, it's not even algorithms, it's scope. And today, we're diving into a question that confuses developers coming from C, C++, or JavaScript. Why doesn't Python have block scope? In languages like C, C++, JavaScript, when you write a block of code inside curly braces, you create a new scope, a new memory boundary, a new variable universe. Inside that block, variables live. Outside it, they disappear. That's called block scope. And if you come from those languages, you expect Python to behave the same way. But it doesn't. In Python, blocks like if, for, while, try, with do not create a new scope. Indentation in Python controls structure, not memory boundaries. So if you define a variable inside an if block, it still exists outside of it. This surprises people, but it's not an accident. It's design. In Python, new scope is created only by functions, classes, modules, and in Python 3, comprehensions. That's it. If it's not one of those, it's not a new namespace, which means control flow blocks don't isolate variables. Functions do. And this is where Python's philosophy begins to reveal itself. Python follows principles laid out in the Zen of Python. One of its most famous lines says, "Simple is better than complex." Adding block scope would mean more symbol tables, more shadowing rules, more mental overhead, more compiler complexity. Python chose clarity over granularity. Instead of saying every block is a new world, Python says if you need isolation, use a function. Explicit, intentional, readable. To truly understand Python's scope, you must understand one rule, LEGB. Local, enclosing, global, built-in. When Python searches for a variable, it checks first inside the current function, then in any outer function, then at the module level, finally in built-in names like print or len. It's simple, predictable, and powerful, but only if you understand it. Here's where beginners make mistakes. They assume a loop variable disappears after the loop, but in Python it doesn't. That variable still exists, and if you accidentally reuse it, you might introduce subtle bugs. Not because Python is broken, but because you misunderstood its scope model. Understanding scope isn't optional, it's foundational. Under the hood, Python compiles functions into separate code objects. Each function gets its own namespace. Control flow blocks do not. They don't generate new code objects, which means they don't generate new scopes. This keeps the interpreter simpler, cleaner, more maintainable. Python is lexically scoped, but not block scoped, and that distinction matters. There is one exception. In Python 3, list comprehensions have their own scope. Why? Because in Python 2, loop variables leaked and it caused confusion. So Python evolved when clarity demanded it. That tells you something important. Python values readability over rigid tradition. So why doesn't Python have block scope? Because it prioritizes simplicity. It keeps scope boundaries explicit. It avoids unnecessary complexity. And it trusts developers to use functions when isolation is required. If you're an aspiring programmer, mastering this concept changes how you write code. You stop writing accidental programs. You start writing intentional ones. And once you understand how Python thinks, you stop fighting the language and start thinking like it.